This is ESPN ESPORTS. My name is Arda Ocal. Happy to be joined by L.I. Joe. East Coast Throwdown is happening this weekend at the Hilton in Stamford, Connecticut. You, sir, are not currently in New York. Shockingly, you are out of state right now.
I am not. Yes, I'm actually visiting my sister. My sister lives in Tampa, so we decided to take a family trip. I'm landing from tomorrow morning and driving right to Connecticut.
Yeah, so tell us, East Coast Throwdown, give us the details on that. Am I correct in saying it's the 10 years? Is this the 10th anniversary of East Coast Throwdown?
Yeah, 2009 was the first one, the first Street Fighter 4 East Coast Major, ECT, 2009. Yeah, so this is a long time in the making. It's something that John, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, John Gallagher, Sweet Johnny Cage, is actually the other half of East Coast Throwdown. A lot of the event goes on because of him. But yeah, John has been my partner in crime since probably the early 2000s. So we decided to throw a major together. We thought the Northeast could use something, can use another event for everyone to gather in. And so we started East Coast Throwdown, which actually was a byproduct of John running events in a local arcade. And we eventually got so big that we were like, what the hell are we going to do? And we were like, all right, well, let's just do a major. So that was that.
So how did it become a major? At what point did the Pro Tour say, you know what, we got to get involved with you guys?
It wasn't until I don't want to say that. I guess I'm going to kind of sort of talk a little bit bad about our own event, but the first 3 or 4 years, it was just like, it was more of a gathering than like a real tournament. It was a couple hundred people. It wasn't anything crazy. By the time we got to like ECT 3 and 4 and 5 was when we started to, make some noise and, well, positive noise that is, and had companies wanting to be involved with us, and developers wanted to reveal things at the tournament. I remember we had a demo of Street Fighter Cross Tekken before Cross Tekken came out. So it wasn't until like maybe the third or about the fourth and the fifth year when it really started to like take hold and become an actual event, like a major that people wanted to go to, and everyone, not everybody, but a good amount of people wanted to attend. Probably like East Coast Throwdown 4 and 5.
I've always been curious, actually, just listening to that answer of yours. How important is it for tournaments or streams to have reveals, just in general, like just exclusives? How important is that in the planning? Because we always see it, right? We always see it, but yeah, I always wondered how much like extra value it brings to you as a tournament organizer.
It's kind of like, it's something that, do you need it? I don't necessarily think you need it to have a good event. Like, a good event can just be a great event, be it what they offer, the basic spectator, how they handle their brackets, how they accommodate players, what the ballroom looks like, how many setups they have, and casual stations. There's a lot that a TO can offer a player or someone spectating and say, oh, that was a great thing. Having a reveal is just like kind of like the cherry on top. You know what I mean? It propels an event, or just makes an event feel like it was a little bit more than just a tournament. And I'll be honest, my event was just another tournament for years. Now it's starting to come in its own and be like its own organic thing. So there are so many tournaments one can go to, but there's very few tournaments where it feels like it's kind of like a spectacle almost. I think having those reveals and having demos and having playable betas or alphas or whatever the heck is going on during the time of the FGC, I think having all that stuff just kind of elevates your event a little bit, just makes it feel a little bit more like a spectacle than just, again, going to a ballroom to play a bunch of games with some friends,
So how did you and the team land on Stamford for this year?
Actually, a little bit of lore. This is the same hotel that Evo East was in. So that's kind of sort of how it started. I was actually at Evo East. It was either 2006 or 2007. John and I always argue about this. I'm not sure the right year, but it's actually the same hotel that, again, the Evo East, either 2006 or 2007 was taking place in. We just essentially outgrew everything, So we thought it would be a good idea. Now, I do like to stay in Jersey. I feel like Jersey is a good meeting spot for a lot of different states. But, we landed a really great venue, and it was a venue that was used to what we wanted to do, that could accommodate us, that could accommodate the space and accommodate the players. I am also a big fan of having everything in one room. I like to see everybody at once. I want to be like, check out Guilty Gear over here. Smash is going down over there. Street Fighter is going on over there. In 20 minutes, we'll have Tekken behind us. I like that feel of being able to have it all in one ballroom. So the last couple of years, we actually we had a hotel, but there were multiple rooms. So it's kind of like, like this stuff is in this room, this stuff is in that room. So this gave us the opportunity to kind of have everybody in one space and one time. And I'm actually a big fan. I know some people kind of goes either way. Some people like to be separate. I like to have everybody in the same ballroom. That also creates interest between other games. Like if I'm a Tekken player, but I don't really watch, I don't know, Smash. Smash is going on over here. You get to see the Smash how to go, hey, what the hell is going on over here? These dudes are going crazy. So then it kind of like intertwines the whole, makes it feel like a community, instead of not just these small pockets of games going on.
You mentioned Smash. I find that to be fascinating, right? Just the Smash and how it interacts with the FGC. It's a Melee tournament again in 2019, correct, at the event?
Yeah.
Was there a reason that you decided you didn't want to do an Ultimate tournament as well?
No, it really just came down to what we had going on at the time. We also kind of based off of Evo. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't Melee this year at Evo. It's like, what, maybe it'd be a cool idea to throw it in this time. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to give a little bit. Unfortunately, we can't. The tournament it's a limited space. We have limited setups and limited time. I would have a tournament for every game that's ever come out, period, But unfortunately, time and everything else doesn't allow us that. So we kind of have to pick and choose our battle as far as games. So looking at the grand scheme of things and seeing what happened to Evo, like, maybe it's a good idea to just throw this in there this time,
What I know that you're definitely known as somebody who is strong in the Street Fighter community. You've said that you play every fighting game that you can get your hands on. What are some of the most popular titles this year, entrance-wise?
Now, Street Fighter is doing very well. Street Fighter is still going strong. Street Fighter, Tekken, Dragon Ball, MK are essentially like the front runners of the event as of now. I mean, the brackets are closed and things like that, so there won't be any online registration. That's not really going to change, but those are essentially the games that are fairly dominant amongst the crowd.
I'd love to know, you as somebody who still continues to compete. We know, of course, the legend of EVO 2016 on ESPN, and we'll get to that in a second. But I'm curious to know from you personally, do you, at this point in your life right now in 2019, having been a TO and a competitor for over a decade now, which one do you prefer?
Oof, damn.
Or do you prefer one over the other?
I think if I could do something, I would probably be a player. If I could do something. Now, the problem is that being a player now for me, with personal life and things like that, it's very, very difficult because guys are so good now, and there's a lot of time, there's a lot of dedication that goes into playing and getting good and competing and traveling. It's just super hard for me to stay up there with those guys that are so dedicated, that are so skilled now. So it's hard for me to maintain that. That's why being a TO is a little bit easier. Not that it's easy, trust me, by no means is it easy to do it. It's kind of like you work in pockets for about 9 months, but being a player just requires so much dedication now. So it's super hard to be up there with the top echelon of players. But if I could, I would certainly be a player again.
Who are some?
Not that I'm not now, because
Yeah, fair enough. Who are some of the players that are new to the scene now that you look at and just marvel at and say, wow, look at the skill that this person possesses?
Sonic Fox. Like, I know that he is not necessarily new. You know what I mean? He was playing Injustice. He was playing MK9. He's been around forever. Not forever, but for a very, very long time. But he's someone that I'm just like, this kid is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, how did this happen? How did he get like this? But it is absolutely incredible. He's obviously just one that just peaks at, again, not that he's new. By no means is he a new player. He was playing DOA like 4 and 5 competitively years ago. But, his last couple of years have just been insane for him as a player. And it's incredible. It's great to see.
What was insane as a player for you, of course, was EVO 2016. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Let's dig into that. I mean, looking back on your career now, where does that moment rank in terms of top moments?
It's easily number one. I don't know if anything I can ever do would surpass that. I guess if I won, would probably be the only thing that would surpass that. But it's everything that I've ever cared about happened in like one weekend between the people that were there. By the way, my dad is here. My dad's walking around out there. The guy that was on ESPN. Yeah, he's over somewhere.
That was the most emotional moment, right? Where you got to hug your dad in tears on camera live. That was incredible.
Yeah, and again, he's like, as I was saying, it's between the people that were there, the timing of it, like him being there from literally the start of me playing fighting games. I mean, he was the guy that took me around to arcades and stuff. My friends that were there that have been playing with me forever, it was just, it couldn't have been any perfect unless I won. But besides that, it truly is the number one moment in my career that I don't know if I'll ever top, especially now, but it is easily the number one for me, hands down.
I'd love to know, like, how many people, even outside of the esports and FGC, came up to you and said, "Man, you were on ESPN. Like, that's so cool. Like, you were live on television in this tournament."
Yeah, it happened more so like a couple years ago. I can't believe that was 2006. That was 3 years ago, almost even more so. You know what I mean? Like, it was a while ago, but the first year or so, first like 6 or 7 months, it happened a lot. I had people texting me that like I haven't seen in years. People I went to high school with that would text me, and they were like, "I'm at a bar or I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings. Why the hell are you on TV?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'll talk to you when I get back." People from my job, I don't hide what I do from my personal life as far as like my actual real career goes, but I do kind of keep it on the down low. I don't really tell anybody. I don't like, I don't speak about it very, very often. So people at my job were like, "Yo, why are you on ESPN playing a video game?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'll talk to you when I get back." So it was, again, happened a lot more within like the first 6 months to a year. Kind of died down now, but people still randomly do say, "Hey man, what's up?" And then now it's actually become more so for like my streaming and stuff. I've gotten more like, "Hey man, I see you on stream," or "I've seen some of your YouTube things," or "I've seen interviews." It's become more so that than I've seen you on ESPN now.
Talking with Li Joe here on ESPN Esports. Talk to me a little bit about the scenes. I mean, you're one of the leaders of the New York FGC, right, for a very long time. And a lot of people, whether it's esports in general or even the FGC, will say that California and LA are really like the home base or the capital of America, at least for esports. Where would you say the New York scene is at today in 2019?
I think we are about, as a player-wise, I think we are about even. I will say that everything else besides players does happen a little bit more from the West Coast perspective. There's a lot of commentators, a lot of things that happen on the West Coast. All the SFL, that stuff is all over there. Not that they obviously pick players from all across the country, but it's just such a vocal point for everything that goes on. Like, everything is located over there. There's companies over there. There's studios over there. So everything that I think that has kind of sort of brought the FGC out of, not that we were in the darkness, but it's kind of raised the FGC as far as a how do I say this? Like on the production side of the FGC, it just all happens over there. So I do think from a player base, I think we're essentially even, but everything else outside of being a player from the FGC, as far as everything else, is definitely a little bit more on the West Coast side.
Let's get back to East Coast Throwdown. Of course, it's happening at the Hilton, Stamford, October 19th and 20th. You got Tekken 7, MK11, Unist, a bunch of Street Fighters, and Smash Melee as well.
Yes.
Roadrunner Records, still involved. I know you're a big metal guy. I am as well.
Yes.
When I think Roadrunner Records, I think of my days in high school listening to Sepultura and Slipknot. How did they get involved?
It was kind of weird. They started doing stuff at their studio, like streaming games and things. And there is a band that I kind of know, and I actually spent some time with. The band is called Vane. Now, I was, I met them from going to their shows, and they actually happened to know who I was from Evo. So there was another gentleman who was in this band. His name is Ricky. He's from a band called Backtrack, who is a very, very well-known New York hardcore band. So they are signed to Roadrunner. So now Ricky actually plays in Backtrack, but he also works at Roadrunner. So it kind of felt like, he knew about or heard about me from hanging out with the guys in this Vane band, and they found out that I was a streamer and I was a player. Roadrunner was trying to do things in their studio. So he was like, "Hey, there's this kid that goes to all these shows that's from Long Island. I know the area. I'm from New York." So he's like, "Let's see if he's down to do something." So this guy, Ricky, kind of contacted me, and we kind of just started talking. He was like, "You want to come down to the studio and like hang out with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man." So they were actually playing Dragon Ball at the time. So I went down to the Roadrunner Studios, and just like you, like seeing all the things I used to listen to, Sepultura, Slipknot, like all that stuff all over the walls, and seeing all the bands and the records, and me being a big music guy, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. This is like my two favorite things in the world, games and music. So they walked me around the studio, they introduced me to people and stuff. So then they started streaming. And then I work with, the ECT team. We owe a lot to this company called Reversal. Reversal, technically, my good buddies Will and and Zach, they have been tremendous as far as helping us get ECT to the next level. They were like, hey, do you have any ideas as far as sponsors? And I was like, do you guys want to talk to Roadrunner? Like, I was just hanging out with them. We can kind of start seeing if everything aligns. And wow. I gave them their contact, and we all just started talking, and that was it. They came to ECT last year, had an absolute ball, thought it was like the best thing ever. And they're just on board with it, man. Such cool guys. Like I said, very on board with the gaming scene, very on board with the music. And I think it's just cool to have two things that does have some cross, maybe not so much, but a decent amount of cross referencing between players and guys that listen to the music. It's just a cool thing to intertwine with a tournament. So that's how it kind of happened.
I think ECT has some of the coolest trophies as well, like the metal vinyl. Like that's so. Who designed that?
Actually, them. It was them. Yeah, I will never brag about much, but I will say I think those are the coolest effing trophies that any event has ever had. I will say that hands down. I think they're the coolest things ever. But yeah, it really did come from them, which is a great idea. Obviously, being a record label, it's like getting a platinum record. I have people that I want one. Like, we all want one. I want one. The other guys that help organize, they're like, yo, can I just have a trophy? Like, can I just get one to put on my wall? Like, it's so cool. Yeah, those trophies are so sick.
I'm sure you could ask them to make a TO trophy, a special one just for you. I think they'll do it, yeah. L.I. Joel joining us here on ESPN ESPORTS one more time. East Coast Throwdown at the Hilton in Stamford, Connecticut, happening this week on October 19th, 20th. If people can't make it physically, where can they watch?
We're going to be on we're going to have the Beat Tech stream will be up. We're going to have Spooky will be there. Capcom Fighters will be there. Anything that your local, the average major tournaments, all going to be on there. Event Hub is actually a good plug to Event Hub. Event Hub always has your streaming information on their front page, so they're always going to have us up there, main page, and all the different streams you can catch, all the different games going on. So there you go.
L.I. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Yes, you got it, guys. Thank you.